What did you like about UO Teach?
I liked the whole program as a whole. The teachers were great, the quality of students were great, and information, data, and research that was presented was great. One of the best parts of it was how they were professors who did research, co-teaching with teachers in the field, and putting the information side by side. You really get a sense of why they're doing what they're doing through research and how it applies to students in the real world in a classroom. And eventually, when you get into the classroom, you can apply all those methods to yourself, to the school you're in, depending whether it's a low SES or high SES type of school, and just really figure out who you are as a teacher. The school really jumped into multiculturalism, diverse issues, and just an overall sense of education as a whole, not just a small section. You need to teach this way, like this. You need to teach in a big spectrum of ways in order to meet all
What
students.
I liked about the UO Teach program is the fact that I got to stay in Eugene to continue my master's program. I had moved to Eugene in 2000, so being able to stay here where my family was definitely a plus for me. Plus, I got to keep the in-state tuition and the scholarships that I had already going for me here, and I didn't have to worry about transferring the credits over and seeing what there was an equivalent course for at another school. And one of the other things is that the courses aligned with each other. Some people who were coming from different programs, they didn't know about all of the concepts that we were talking about, which we already had a background in if you were part of the Education Foundation's undergraduate program, which I was, so it seemed like a lot of repetition, but it was really more of a strengthening of the connection between what you had briefly talked about and making it more in-depth understanding.
I think it's a really good program to help introduce students who want to be teachers to the problems both inside and outside the classroom. It's taught me a lot about the dynamics I didn't even know of that go into teaching, all the issues that happen in the classroom that I would have never thought about, and it's taught me how to deal with those. And my favorite part of the whole program was the practicum full-time student teaching. I think that's the most valuable thing you can gain from this program, is being fully in charge of a classroom. What was your experience at the Portland Job Fair like?
The Portland Job Fair was pretty rad. I enjoyed it. I went into it the days before not thinking I was gonna get a job or any interviews or anything like that. I thought it was a way for me to get to know principals, supervisors, faculty of different school districts around Oregon and possibly other states. I wasn't really thinking about going into another state or anything like that at the time when I went there. So I didn't really prepare much for the Portland Job Fair. I kind of just had a resume ready, had one letter of recommendation, and went in there and just wanted to, be personable, talk to teachers, talk to recruiters about whatever, just, put my name out there. And then when I got there, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of people here. There's 30 districts or something like that, and then there's 1,500 people, and you go in there and you're just overwhelmed, oh my god. Seriously, I'm never going to talk to anybody. So you just walk around and do your thing, and, there's going to be some huge lines, which I avoided the huge lines. I kind of just went to everything else. And I was able to get interviews with the first couple people I was talking to because, I don't know, they liked me. They liked that we were going to be master's graduates and we were going to be ESOL endorsed, and that's really huge. And a lot of recruiters, principals, and educators really respect the UO Teach program for that and the research that they do and the quality of teachers
My
put out there.
experience with the Portland Job Fair was a little bit of mixed emotions. I went in not really having high hopes. It was more of my brother was going, he needed a ride, so I was going to take him up there. Might as well check it out, get some experience with interviewing. once it got a little bit closer, I started looking at what school districts were going to be there, and there were ones that I wasn't going to drive to by myself. So I started to take it a little bit more seriously, and I went into it with a game plan. I had arrived early to the job fair to get a listing of what booths people were going to be at and the floor plan, and I was writing down what my priorities were, which booths I wanted to hit first, so I knew where I absolutely needed to go, and then everything else was just kind of if I have time, I'll go there, which after I did all my top 10, I did have time to go around to pretty much all of the other schools that were going to be in kind of the same area, but it was a chance for me to interview with some of my top choices and kind of get experience knowing what kind of questions are going to be asked, and just being prepared for when there was a school district that I wanted to work for had asked me for an interview. So it was definitely a great opportunity, and I didn't get a job from the job fair, but the school district that I'm working for now actually was at the job fair and was kind of a jumping off point for me. So I would definitely recommend going. If anything, it's a fun experience just to get out of Eugene for a couple days, take a couple days off from your placement, go up there, experience something new. I mean, you really can't get anything bad from going. I mean, even if you don't get a job offer and you stand in line for 3 hours just to talk to one school district, plan accordingly, you still get the experience of interviewing and seeing what kind of questions schools are asking, what they're looking
The
for.
Portland Job Fair was overwhelmingly awesome. I would definitely recommend it to anybody, even if they are not sure where they want to, especially if they're not sure where they want to work. There are states and just schools from different states and districts everywhere, and so if you're not sure if you want to leave the state that you're in or go somewhere else, there's a lot of opportunity, and it's also a good place to practice your skills with talking about your ideal classroom and your beliefs in teaching. I never used to think of myself as a teacher until I went to that job fair and they were interviewing me, and I was asked about all of my beliefs and values and the things that I look for in schools and classrooms, and I was surprised at the things that came out of my mouth. I actually had a vision of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, and it's a really great practice run for anybody who is going to be interviewing for a job, because it just puts you right on the spot. Some helpful hints towards Portland Job Fair would be to wear comfortable shoes, because you stand a lot, dress nicely, people dress to a T. Be prepared to say what you have to say in about 2 minutes, because there are very long lines for very popular districts, and it's a really quick introduction interview process. So basically you have about 2 minutes to answer some questions and talk about yourself and your teaching ideals, and if they like you and agree with what you have to say, then you get a second interview to come back the next day, and that's how I got my job offer for Arizona and some other districts. So I would just bring lots of resumes, get a good night's sleep beforehand, and look your best, and be prepared to sell what you have. Why did you choose to move out of state?
To be honest, I don't know, it kind of just clicked, but I took this class in the winter from Mary Randall. I can't remember her name, but I'm pretty sure that's her name. And she was talking about the differences between these two states, mostly New Mexico and Arizona, and how one allowed bilingual education while Arizona did not. It was an English-only school area. So that, in conjunction with the politics that are all around Arizona, just really made it like a place I wanted to go to do some type of change or something like that. Like, I want to be like, I was like that idealistic teacher, like, oh, optimistic, yada yada yada. I know it's gonna be hard. I know the first year is gonna be crazy, but I decided to go there because I just want to make a difference. Because there's a lot of good teachers in Oregon, and University of Oregon is producing a lot of teachers who will stay in the state. So I think branching out is really going to help a lot of people.
I chose to move out of Oregon to teach for multiple reasons. The first one being that I did apply to a lot of places in Oregon, but I just wasn't getting any callbacks. There were so many people who are applying in Oregon, and there's only one district in Eugene that I would want to work for, and I really didn't see myself going too far out of Eugene if I wanted to stay in Oregon. The other thing is that I do have ties out of state. My current job is actually in Glendale, Arizona, and my boyfriend is actually stationed in Glendale. So getting a job offer here, it was kind of a no-brainer for me to say yes, because it meant that I could be in the same state as him again, so that we can progress there. So not only do I get to continue my relationship and get married, but I also get to have my career, be close to his family. It's kind of an independence part for me. You know, I lived in Eugene for 14 years, living with my family, so this is my opportunity to get out by myself, experience something new, and really find out who I am. And the education I got in the South, I loved it. I was challenged as a kid, so I didn't see a reason why.
Okay. Why I decided to move to a different state is because I didn't really have a break between high school, college, grad school. I just kind of went all the way through. So I was looking for a change, to move somewhere different and to try something new. So I took the opportunity to move to a different state. I would recommend it to anybody who'd want to try something new. If you don't have any roots grounding you in the Eugene Springfield area, I would go somewhere different, try somewhere new, experience in different school systems from different states. That way, if you decide to come back to Oregon or wherever you go to teach, you have more experience under your belt with different states and different types of schooling systems, because everyone is a little bit different. And I think the more that you know about different districts and different school systems, then you'll be better prepared for your next job.